Y'all, like, we are out of the shower. This looks like a hot mess. I don't know what's going on back here, but... What is up? Welcome back. I'm going to do a November wrap-up situation. I have one book I'm going to include in this that I read technically in the month of October. That's the word I was looking for. Because most of the things I read in October, I kind of talked about, and even though we're just gonna move on. Okay, that's what we're doing. I'm including one book that I technically read in October. I read it Halloween night, so I feel like it kind of fits. And then everything else I read this month, it'll be pretty self-explanatory. Y'all know how a wrap-up goes. Grab a snack. This might be a little bit of a long one. I'm not sure yet. Okay, so the first one, we're going to do this kind of out of order. That way I can talk about things in a way that will make sense. But we're going to talk about arcs first and then move on from there. So the first, I guess I should state this because I did make a November TBR. But going into the month of November, my goal was to kind of get my NetGalley score up because it's currently sitting at 43. And I think it was 43 when we began. So we haven't raised it, but we also haven't lowered it. So I will take it for status quo because I've gotten things in the month of November. That's how that worked out. So I read these and then I requested more. And so we have a status quo, which again, I'll take. I will take the status quo as we work on bettering ourselves. But the first arc that I read this month was I Hope You're Listening by Tom Ryan. Last year, I discovered him with his book, Keep This to Yourself, which again, I'd recommend. I Hope You're Listening is a story of a girl whose best friend was kidnapped as a child. They were playing in the woods together. They were rushed by these adults, and her friend was taken. They think she's probably murdered. We don't know because, that's just how it is. But since the disappearance of that young girl, our main character has started this kind of a podcast where they talk about other missing children. This book, I think, is supposed to be set in the United States. It kind of felt like we were in Canada, but I think we're supposed to be in the United States. Either way, it was a joy. I only say that because, I didn't know I think they were talking about other missing people in the United States, but they might have done, some international episodes. But, we are initially, that's the setup, but a new girl goes missing in this town. And so our main character is kind of grappling with this feeling of, what happened to my best friend? I can't really remember that night. Now there's this new girl, they think it's the same person. And let me just say this, Tom Ryan, I was kind of let down by another book I read from him earlier this year. They got pushed to 2021, but I Hope You're Listening. I have faith again because I was in love with this book from the jump. Our main character was a joy to read from. What was her name? I keep saying our main character. I know somebody in the comment section is going to be like, you don't even know her fucking name. D. D's dad, great character. Great character. He's not really important to, the plot or anything. He doesn't come in and, save the day. He's just a house dad who, is fixing up their house, and he has other house dad friends that he meets for coffee. He just warmed my heart. Great side character. 10 out of 10, loved him. I mean, her mom was great too, nothing against Dee's mom, but I just liked the dad figure in this book. Great character, loved him, loved the book. I gave it a full 5 stars. It's been out for a minute, came out October 6th. It's a smaller book. I don't know if everyone's going to be looking for it, but I think that if you are a fan of that kind of a thing, disappearing child or whatever, it is sapphic. It is a sapphic little story. So check it out. I think you'll enjoy it. The next book I read was a complete failure, and that was Sources Say by Lori Goldstein. This is the story of, we follow 2 sisters in this one who go to this private school. One of the sisters is the newspaper editor. The other sister is kind of this popular Instagram influencer, and the whole book revolves around the student council election, and each of the sisters' role in it. I think I'm out of focus. If I've been blurry this whole time, I'm sorry, but there we go. It was just boring from start to finish. Clunky, just very meh. This book, again, is kind of a more flying under the radar title. This one, I think, totally deserves to fly under the radar, because I can't imagine anybody who would enjoy this, because this book is kind of tailor written for me. You know, you have a high school setting, you have family connections, you have messy, kind of wealthy people, because we're at a private school situation. Just god awful. Couldn't recommend it. It was trying to give me Gilmore Girl vibes. It was kind of serving that at the beginning, and like they kind of stayed there. But even if you wanted something to give you Gilmore Girl vibes, there has to be a better book. Like, I don't think this would be, maybe this would be my first recommendation, because I haven't experienced another book that would be like, that kind of has those vibes, but I would feel bad recommending it. So I don't recommend that you read it. I don't know what I rated it. Let's see what it says on Goodreads. 2 stars. Didn't like it. Next was another disappointment, and this was You Have a Match by Emma Lord. This is another arc, so I don't want to get too far into it, because it doesn't come out until January. This one doesn't come out until January. Sources say it came out in like September. I don't feel bad about talking bad about it. You Have a Match by Emma Lord comes out on January 5th from Wednesday Books, and I was not a fan of this. I felt secure in requesting the arc, because everyone had very positive things to say about Tweet Cute, which came out, maybe it was January of this year, it was this year, early in the year, before everything shut down. And there was nothing but praise. I even remember like some 2019 hype was about, like, people were talking about Tweet Cute. So when You Have a Match popped up on Wednesday Books, our NetGalley, I was like, you know what, I'm going to trust it. I'm going to trust Wednesday Books to not let me down with this. And they did. You Have a Match, I went into it because I thought I was getting the story of a girl who found out that she had this whole sibling that she didn't know about. And they were going to go to summer camp. I was going to get summer camp vibes as they reconnected on this, like, life. And this whole sister they didn't know that they had. And that was very much not what I got. What I got was kind of like this half-baked love triangle that wasn't really it wasn't really a triangle. When I say like love triangle, like there were 3 people involved, but it wasn't like 3 actual love interests. It'll make sense when you read the book. It was very strange that it was a love triangle, but it was weird. And that was a lot of the book. And then the actual, like, reconnecting with sibling aspect, or like why this character was that wasn't really addressed at all, and I was kind of disappointed. It kind of felt in bad taste almost, if you were someone who was in a similar situation to this and you were trying to like read it because you don't see your typical family, like your family structures being represented in this. And it was just really gross. And then the way that the book wrapped up, it felt very YA, in that these people were supposed to be at odds with each other for like over almost 2 decades, and we just kind of, it didn't make sense. So the cover is kind of cute, but even the cover, like, again, there were no actual summer camp vibes. Very disappointed in that one. And then we read what was by far and away the best arc that I have ever, is it the best arc I've ever read? Maybe. It was the best arc I read in November. I can say that confidently. And that was Ace of Spades by Farida. I watched so many videos learning to pronounce this woman's name. We are going to get this correct. Farida Abike Iamide. Drag me in the comments if it's not. So, this is everything I love. You have a private school, you have wealthy white people doing messy, racist white people shenanigans. You have this story of the story's focused on these 2 black characters, Devin and Chiamaka, going into their senior year, and these racist white people in their lives doing everything they can to destroy them, and the twists, the turns, the executions. Farida, she changed the game, okay? Like, she really came in and she just did the damn thing. And the fact that she is also a Gossip Girl lover, the fact she also is a Dan Blair supremacist, like, I have to stand this. Like, Mary, I love Mary. We know that I love Mary, but Farida's coming. Farida, you are not ready for June 1st. I think the book is also out on June 10th in the UK. So mark your calendars, get your little pre-orders together, because this book, it is the moment. She has changed the game, and I just need y'all to read it because it is going to revolution. 5 stars, clearly 5 stars. It has rocketed its way onto my top 10 list. I don't know how I'm going to I don't know. Future Monty has a problem on his hands because that book, it just it shook up some spots. The girlies are scared. Now I'm going to talk about release things that I have, that I own, that are physical. So let's get into that. The first book I'm going to talk about was my group book for the Choices Book Club. Live show for this will be on Saturday. At the time that this goes up, it should be there, so you can like set a reminder. But the book was You Should See Me in a Crown by Leah Johnson. This came out earlier in the year. When exactly this came out, I could not tell you. But this is the story of our girl, Liz Leidy, living in Indiana? Illinois? I think Indiana. Pretty sure it's Indiana. She's living in the Midwest, you know, ready to go off to college, also her senior year. And, you know, she needs some college money. Her scholarship she thought she was gonna get, you know, fell through, and she finds herself in this race for prom queen. And it gave me very much like the Half of It vibes, which I was all here for, because that's like best movie of 2020, hands down, no competition. So I appreciated the vibes. They are different. They're not the same story. They're very different, but I liked it, and I had a good time. I wound up giving it 4 stars because, again, it was a cute moment. It was there. You know, Leah Johnson, she did the thing. I will be looking out for her next release. But yeah, like I said, live show linked down below, all around, wherever it is. That's where I'll really get into this one, but I do recommend it. I don't feel let down. I was kind of worried because it is a shorter contemporary. You know, I don't usually fuck with that. You know, I like a nice chunky one. But, you know, Leah Johnson, she did the thing. And now we have come to the part of the video that I almost wish had been a vlog, but I know that if I had vlogged it, I would not have been as successful as I was during part of this batch of reading. And that is, I read the first 5 lovely books in the Throne of Glass series. So Throne of Glass was the book that I said I read on Halloween. The lovely Mel from Mel Reads was hosting some Halloween sprints, I believe, and I was like, why not read Throne of Glass? And I read it, and it was a cute time. It was my second time reading it, and I had a good time. You know, the girl, Selena Sardothien, she all up in the salt mines. You know, in the competition, you become the king's champion, doing the thing. Like, she did it. She did the thing. I have no complaints about where this story starts. If I'm being honest, this, I think, is the book that doesn't really feel connected to the rest of the series. I know some people say, like, books 1 and 2 feel kind of like one thing, and then, like, after that it feels different. But I felt that, like, Crown of Midnight was definitely grounded in where the rest of the story was going. And even here, there are definite hints and, you know, I don't know if I call them Easter eggs, but the seeds are definitely planted in Throne of Glass for where we actually eventually ended up. Because when I hadn't read the series and I was hearing people talk about it, I thought it was like some hard left reboot reinterpretation of like what had happened. And I think that's not accurate. Like, I think that definitely downplays what Sarah J. Maas was able to accomplish here, because again, it's not like, is it the best book I've ever read in my entire life? No, I think I gave this one 3 stars. It was a fine little time. But I think this was definitely a solid foundation, even if it does feel slightly out of the loop. And after that, I went and I picked up Crown of Midnight, you know, a couple weeks later. I didn't dive straight into this one. We are, you know, we've moved past the competition to become King's Champion. We're out here doing the things. And again, I thought this was a fine time. It maybe got this one 4 stars. Maybe it was another 3-star read for me. It was solid. I really enjoyed where we went here. The thing that I don't like about these first couple of books is the love triangle. Like, that, I was never invested in Kale or Dorian as love interests. I'm also confused as to why I need to call this man Kale on the pronunciation guide when Kale is like right there. Like it's right there. It's right there. But the pronunciation guide just be like Kale, and I don't get it. But I don't hate either one of them, but up until this point in the series, I don't understand why I needed it. It didn't seem necessary to me. Then, after Crown of Midnight, the next 3 books I'm going to talk about, I read in a 24-hour period for a readathon that I didn't vlog because it was impromptu. It was just for fun, trying to get some pages in. And so I picked up The Assassin's Blade, which I'm pretty sure I'm on record on my channel saying I don't want to read this. I don't like short stories. I don't like novella collections. I don't want it. And this was a 5-star read. Miss Mass did the thing. And I don't think that there's anything like revolutionary about any of these short stories. And I think that I was just talking about love interest, and the love interest that was introduced here and the love interest that was supposed to like he's mentioned in Crown of Midnight and Throne of Glass. I even think he gets a scene in the next book. He's mentioned all over the place as kind of like the great love that got away or whatever, and I hated that man so much. But this was still a 5-star read. I really enjoyed seeing these like brief pockets of time in Selena's life. For me, again, I didn't really need this justification of her being like this badass character. And I don't even think we got justification of like Selena being this badass assassin. I think it was just more, and like there were times in Crown of Midnight and there were times in Throne of Glass, and you're supposed to be this character, right? But you're doing these things, you're making these decisions that don't really make sense to me. And I think that The Assassin's Blade, she was still like, I don't understand why you're doing this. But as the story went on, I was like, you know what, Selena, you're doing the thing. I'm not gonna be mad at you. And I was actually, like I said, I was here for this. It was a 5-star read for me, and it was a moment. It was a moment I was not expecting to experience. And then I was kind of let down, because I think that Heir of Fire, I think I gave it 4 stars. Let's check on Goodreads. What did I give Heir of Fire? What did I give you? I gave it 4 stars, but I was kind of like, this might actually be a 3-star. The thing is, I don't think that any of it was bad. I know that there are some people who are like, I don't like books that's all set up, and Heir of Fire is very much a lot of setup. I'm not going to spoil things, but obviously developments have been happening throughout the course of Crown of Midnight, Throne of Glass, and in Heir of Fire we have to adapt. We have to process these changes, and so there's a lot of time spent processing these these changes. There's a lot of I don't want to call them training montages, because there aren't quite so many montages as they are character exploration, character growth, and like training is present for certain perspectives. We're also introduced to the perspective of Madame Blackbeak, and we kind of get looks at the witches in this world. And I think that it's kind of a disservice to all of the witches, first off, to be introduced in a world where magic is still not around. So I don't care about Manon, I don't care about the Blackbeaks, I don't care about any of the Iron Tooth sisters, whatever that whole brand of witches were. I'm not sure if like their iron teeth and nails is meant to be literal or like metaphorical. Whatever, I didn't fuck with it, and I think that apparently nobody fucks with Manon. Apparently, well, at least in this one, everyone when I tweeted and I updated on Goodreads, they were like, yeah, I skipped her chapters, I didn't read them the first time around. And so I was suffering through Manon's chapters because I just did not care about Manon. The other characters I also didn't really care too much about, but again, full Goodreads link down below. I don't want to be spoilery. I don't want to ruin this for you. I think there are people out there who say this is like their least favorite. This might be mine. I don't know yet. I'm not done. But a lot of this was a choice, but I think that even though I didn't personally like enjoy the choices, I think that they were choices in favor of the character and in favor of the story and in favor of where we were going. And then the last book that I read and finished in the month of November, and in that 24-hour readathon was Queen of Shadows, which was the first like main series actual novel that I gave 5 stars to. This, I have often cited like City of Heavenly Fire as one of my all-time, I don't know if it's like my all-time, but City of Heavenly Fire I think is a masterful conclusion for that particular series. And while this is not a conclusion, reading Queen of Shadows, I just know Kingdom of Ash is gonna slap. Like, there's no way you could convince me that at this point where I'm at right now, that Kingdom of Ash isn't gonna slap. Because I think that Queen of Shadows is like a little mini resolution point. We get a lot of the storylines wrapped up. We get to see some nice, this is the first one that I think that doesn't really end on a cliffhanger. You kind of get like a nice moment to breathe and like, whew, okay, we did that. Like we get to enjoy the moment, you know, after building toward it. And then, so I know Kingdom of Ash is gonna slap. I just know it. Like, how could it not? Like, you can't convince me. You get a lot. What really carried this book for me was all of the moments with Aiden and Aelin. I think it's Aiden? It might be Aiden. I don't know. But Aiden and Alien, and not Alien, and Aelin, their little cousin moments carried this whole book for me. That family dynamic was A+. You loved to see it. Manon's storyline in here, still did not care for it. The way people were talking about this, I was expecting to be like, oh, 100% 180 flip on Manon. No. But I will say that I don't know how you could appreciate, I mean, I know people probably went back and like read those chapters, but it's like, if you didn't suffer through those chapters in Air Fire, I think that if you had just read these, like, you would still get it, but like the satisfaction of that character arc wouldn't be realized. And so like I appreciated the arc, but I still don't care about the witches because again, I think it's so strange to include them in such vast portions of the novels in a world that does not actually have magic, or at least a continent that doesn't have magic, because as we saw in Air Fire, the other continents, the other countries don't really have that same affliction. And so that it's just an odd choice to me. But again, those cousin moments really carried the story for me. The new love interest, Mr. Rowan, who was introduced in the last book, he continued to disgust me here. That man is over 300 years old. They are cousins. He's trying to be a cousin fucker. I can't ship nothing in this series. So, oh, also, this book, Kale and Dorian are gay. I'm sorry. They're queer. They were fucking. There was literally no heterosexual explanation for the whole plot line that they had in this book. What was going on here between them and this one. What is that, Sarah? I would love for Sarah to explain to me that heterosexual explanation because I refuse to see it. It doesn't make sense. So between that and the actual cousins like bonding and all of that, great, you love to see it. And again, there was a nice, I thought, satisfying resolution, kind of the same way that there was in City of Glass when it eventually, you know, became like a longer series. I think there was the same moment here where it's like, okay, we did the thing, and then I'm assuming Empire of Storms. It's called Empire of Storms. Like, obviously some shit's gonna go down. I'm also kind of sad because this is the last book in the series that has normal pages. After this, they all have progressively thinner paper quality to accommodate the binding process. So that's a little sad because I did like regular sized paper, but overall, I'm not mad. Overall, I'm very excited to have finally picked up the series. I do think that Throne of Glass is probably going to be my favorite Sarah J. Maas series, just so far. Again, I've only read the starters and the other, and obviously there isn't Crescent City 2 out. There's no way for me to read that at the moment. But I do plan still to continue with the Accord Along. We're doing that. I will be reading them. But that was like, I was about to say that was October. But that was November's reading. Let me know how you guys fared down below in the comment section. And I'll see you guys soon with another video. But until then, and until next time.